Did you watch the whole thing?
Yeah, I did.
So did you see that they're selling these cars now?
Yes.
Oh my God, I can't help it. Like, so Speed Academy is selling 3 of their JDM Legends from their JDM Legends series. First off, my favorite series that they've ever done. I think it's because it's the most nostalgic to me, but they had so many good cars, and they still have so many good cars, right?
Right.
So they took these cars, some were in better shape than others, and they made them awesome. So obviously, Sylvia S15, Supra, Mark IV, and an FD RX7. Now, all 3 cars, let's say 2 of these have our wheels on it, which is awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. The RX-7 has
the RX-7 has heliograms,
titanium metallic heliograms,
right.
And the S15
has black hexaforms.
Yes, it does.
And so, all right, so let's look at this. They're selling 3 cars. All 3 cars are awesome.
They sure are.
Like, if you want a JDM Legend that's been sorted through, that has great paint and great aesthetics, and majority of the interior is very good looking and clean for the most part for what you're getting, and is runs and drives and has been dynoed and these are the cars.
Yeah, I know.
And better yet, you get a car that's completely documented.
Yes.
Now, just so we all know, I have been talking to Peter for over a year about the Supra.
Oh.
I know.
And where is that gone?
Well, it's interesting. But before we get there, let's talk about the 3 cars.
Okay, yeah, right.
Because these are legitimate, like, y'all can go get these cars now. Right now. So, I think probably...
if people are unfamiliar with this video or with these cars in particular,
look at the cars. So good.
I'm sure that everyone's question is why are they selling them? So do you want to just answer that really quick?
Yeah, I mean, so look, there's no doubt that it's not a secret that they are a company, right? Like Speed Academy's channel is based off of being able to bring you builds.
Yep.
Right? And they have a lot of cars that they have saved, and they're keeping 100%. And they can't afford to move on to every other build if they don't have the cash flow to go buy more cars.
Yep.
So at some point, they got to purge what they have. And for what they're looking for, these 3 cars are the ones they're purging right now.
I know we want to roll through this one, and I just can't. Like, my first thought when I watched this video was, I was like, if you're to purge anything, why these 3?
Well, but look, Peter has a really amazing R34.
Yep.
That's clean. He has a good thing. He has a spare engine for it. He's got all the good pieces.
Sitting right up there.
Yep, sitting right up there on the top right. For those that are not familiar, or you're listening on the podcast on one of our, podcast listening stations there.
Yeah.
We're watching. There's a YouTube video. Go to the YouTube video. You could see all the information we're talking about. But look, car number 1 here. He's got the Sylvia S15. This car is sick. The paint is beautiful. Yep. Great color. Has the hexaforms.
This was their least expensive starting point, I believe, in terms of
This was a car that needed probably the most amount of work, but but now is beautiful.
Look
and
at that
put
thing.
Amazing parks on it. This is a cool car to own.
Yeah, beyond cool car to own.
Yeah.
First of all, no one in the States has one. So,
nope. Like, I mean, look, even in the interior, honestly, this car's a really nice car. And I think they're looking for something like 38,000 US for it.
Something like that.
So 38,000 US for it. Obviously, I believe it's an SR20 turbo. The car is really nice, fun car. I think it makes something in the area of like 263 horsepower to the wheels. This is a fun car. And the car is so clean from the interior that they've really touched up and made everything look good. So that's awesome. I mean, if you got to pick one of these cars, I mean, this is a nice car.
Hey, I mean, if any of these FD guys end up doing an S15 when they're legal to import and they do an F15 as their pro cars or something like that, you're just out there killing it. Like, wouldn't that be the coolest thing ever?
So?
You don't think
We've
so?
seen S15s before.
In FD?
Yeah.
Oh, well. That goes to show how...
Didn't Adam LZ campaign in an S15?
How do they have one? They're not legal. They're not legal here. 25.
Well, it doesn't matter. He brings it over and yeah. Well, anyhow, all these cars are illegal for import, I think now.
Is it?
I think so.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
Anyhow, this car, super sick. I think it's a great car to own if you have the money for it. I think it's worth it. I think this car will continue to appreciate, and I think that the documented path that they have about this car getting redone, I think is perfect. But anyhow, again, I think they're looking for 30,
high 30s,
38, 37, 35. 35.
Oh wow.
So $35,000. This is like for 35 grand. Now you have to figure they're in Canada, so you got to import this thing. So it's gonna be, I don't know, maybe
he breaks down the
$4 or $5, $6 grand, something like that.
Taxes in the video. It says,
it's not much.
Yeah,
it's not much because I mean you figure getting into the country, you're just talking about, God bless you, you're just talking about being able to pay some of the importation tax that you have to when you bring the car in. It's not a crazy expensive car, so you should be good there. So this car is super cool, and for 35 grand, I think that if you're looking for something that's sorted, built, painted, clean, it's been run through, makes good power, you know what it is, documented on its build, this is a great car to buy.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure at the end of this video, I think he said the S15 sold.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I missed that. Anyway, so
it's the only one that I think he mentioned that about.
Okay.
Is that it's actually sold already.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's go on to the next car that they're selling.
Yeah, selling.
And let's do. I don't want to do the Supra. Let's talk about the FD. Let's talk about the FD. So look, the FD here is it's gorgeous.
God.
It's a repaint, but the color is perfect. That blue is
Look
so
at that
hot.
Freaking car.
That car is awesome.
I was just saying earlier that I really truly believe that FD RX7 is one of the best looking cars aesthetically. Period.
It designed it is
of all time.
So here's where I run into a problem with FDs. I have wanted an FD since I've been a small young lad.
Yeah, it's called Fast and Furious 1, Mr. Vin Diesel himself.
That's exactly what it's called. So the problem I have with the FDs is I inherently am not really great with the rotary.
I mean, who is?
The Wankel engine is a tough thing to. That's what it is.
I know it is.
The Wankel engine.
You have to say it like that.
I did. It's a tough nut to crack if you're not really familiar with them. But what I will tell you is here they did have the engine rebuilt and they used RX-8 high compression rotors. And what that essentially means is you're going to have a car that's going to have a good amount of torque. For those that don't know, like if you look at a 13B, which is typically a 1.3 liter engine, you might get confused by looking at the displacement number and thinking that correlates to horsepower, but it doesn't. The one thing the rotors are really known for is making a lot of torque and a lot of power, especially without needing to have its
higher
large whatever. Yeah. Right. And that's why the engine is such a monster. Plus, it is known for being able to do some high revving capabilities.
Definitely.
The problem is that they're also known for being really temperamental and really on the edge of just wanting to explode.
Yeah, I mean, the way I've always learned it, which I don't know if it's true because, I don't know that much about the rotary stuff, but I've always been told that it's basically self-destructive, and like...
Yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing. I have known a lot of people that are extreme, like, rotary heads.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll make crazy power on some of these cars, and the cars are stupid fast, and they swear by them. But if you're not a rotary person, I think it gets tougher because there are things in different nuances. Now, this car particularly, the interior is in pretty great shape with exception of, I think, the seats.
Mm-hmm.
And those seats are something that you could swap out or get reupholstered. Right? Like this is not an end all be all. For the most part, the interior is really very clean. And they've done all the sorting out of this car. I will tell you that if you're excited about the possibility of an FD, you should watch this video. When they drove all three cars.
Mm-hmm.
When they drove this car, the amount of like throttle response and how fast the car felt in the video, which is always the toughest part to me.
Yep.
Was astounding. astounding. Honestly, it makes me want to buy this car more and more. The car is crazy. Now, I don't know really what else to say about this car. The car, I think, makes 370 horsepower, which may not seem like this astronomical number, but I think because they did high compression, and they made this comment too, they use high compression rotors, so that's what makes the car so much. That's why it's so torquey so quickly, and that's why it's spooling that turbo up as fast as it is. And I think this is a car that if you want to make faster right out of the box, go ahead and swap the turbo to like an 82 millimeter or something like that, and now all of a sudden it's gorgeous. And they're looking for $42,000 US on this car. I really contemplated whether I should shoot him a number and just ask him if I can buy the car.
You know what? As opposed to the S15, because the other two, because FD and the Mark IV Supra are cars that are available here in the States, unlike the S15. So like when you look at 42, like I mean, it's not even. It's comparable to what they're going for here, you know?
So here's the thing. This is what I think. I think that if you're looking, just for the sake of, and I know because I look at them quite a bit.
Yeah.
If you're going to go buy an FD, right? If you're going to get to that point where you're going to be buying an FD, the price ranges, if you're looking for just a basic one kind of thing, are running about 40,000 US.
Mm-hmm.
If you could find ones that are kind of need to be put together, need to have parts put into them, aren't the great aesthetically, you could find them anywhere from 25
low 30s
to mid 30s. Mm-hmm. Okay, you can, if you want to get one that has, let's say like 60 or 70 or 80,000 miles, US car, left-hand drive, clean, been taken care of, but still is going to come with whatever 30+ year old cars come with.
I would say about.
Then you can be anywhere from 55 to 60.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean they're selling for that. I'm just telling you that's what they're listing for, and that's what people want for them.
Yep.
What I will say about this car is, for $42,000, you are getting a car that's completely sorted. You're getting a car that has a verified rebuilt engine with high compression rotors that's going to allow you to run a bigger turbo. You're getting a car that has new wheels,
paint job,
new tires, great paint, carbon fiber front lip there, has all the good parts, and has been mechanically sorted, dyno tuned, makes verified 370 horsepower. And I think the odds of getting this car to 450 with just a turbo change, I think are incredibly right in line.
Yep.
This car,
look at that.
for $42,000, this car is a good value.
Yeah.
Figure $5,000 more to get the car here in the States. Maybe there's a slight bit of wiggle room. I think the car does have a couple things mechanically that they didn't sort out, which is they have an ABS light on. But he said he thinks it's going to be an ABS sensor. Truth is, sorting out the ABS shouldn't really be a problem. They had FDs here in the States, and I would imagine that things like wheel sensors and some different ABS parts are going to be
available,
almost identical, with exception of lines, and I don't think that's going to be a problem. So this car, 102,000 kilometers on the board, which translates, what is that, like 70,000 miles? 75?
Something around that.
This is a cool car. I was debating, and I guess I still debate a little bit about whether I want to buy this.
Well, then let's talk about the last one.
All right.
Ready for it?
I'm going to try.
He's going to try. And so the last car is the Mark IV Supra.
Now, let's talk about this car because I know the car. This is a original red car. This is a original 6-speed twin turbo Mark IV Supra, right-hand drive, but has the V60, has the V160 gearbox. The Get Rag gearbox. Is an original 6-speed twin turbo car. This is going to be one of those cars that will accumulate value.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that separates this car here in the States from really exuding a much higher price tag is the left-hand drive versus the right-hand drive.
Yep.
Right? This is a right-hand drive car. Was imported. It was sourced from Japan. The car is inherently clean. It has great parts in it. Everything is sorted through. This car
Look at that.
is a amazing car. Now, I know for a fact that they were trying to sell this car for a while, and they were asking probably more money than, well, no. Peter even says in the video, more money than they're asking. I think they were asking somewhere in the low 80s, which is sorted for what they put into this car. Mm-hmm. They had Recaro Sportster seats, right? Mm-hmm. Sportsman. I always forget.
I don't remember the model, but definitely.
Anyhow, they had the Recaro seats. They're big dollar seats. They go for almost $1,800 a pop. Then they had Volk CE 28s. I know it's weird to watch us speak about other wheels on here, but trust me, it's gonna get better. And the interior's been fairly sorted. Pretty clean car. Again, they've detailed, freshened the paint. They have really good, clean OE parts. They've swapped. If at one point in the build series, they actually had a blue one that they was auto, and they were going to convert it to manual. Mm-hmm. But then realizing how much the gearbox was separately, they're like, all right, well, this is stupid. We can't put that kind of. I mean, gearboxes right now, if you get a V160 get reg, you're talking about $12,000 to $15,000 now for the gearbox, maybe even more, but right in that price range. So this car, to me, the only thing I think I would ever want in a Supra is maybe a Targa car. Like, for me personally, I like the Targa cars, but from a handling standpoint, from a build standpoint, from a quickness standpoint, a hardtop is certainly a better piece, right?
I would have no preference between the two. Doesn't matter.
I would. I have this thing about the Targa. I want to call in a medical emergency and bang out the top like in the Fast. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
That's not what I want to do. No, but like I like the idea of being able to take the top off, right? I kind of have that same thing going on with the MR2. I kind of want to take the T-tops off. So, all right. What Speed Academy did was they took off the Volks. They put on the work CR Kais that came with it. They put new rubber on those tires, so you're getting brand new tires anyway. They took out the Recaro seats. They took out the big dollar KW suspension. They put in I think 10 coilovers, or TN, however you want to call it. But they put in new coilovers. Obviously more basic stuff, and they had a Stop Tech. I think it was a trophy, really nice big brake kit. They took that off as well. And they put on the stock 4-pot front, I think 2-pot rear, Supra turbo brakes. Okay, so that's what they did to minimize the price of the car, and they're looking for $67,000. I personally I've been talking to Peter about this for a while, about sending them a set of wheels, one of our wheels to put on the car, and then flying into Toronto, and then driving the car home. I want a Supra very badly. I think this is probably the cleanest Supra with the most documented history, with all the right parts that I can get for about $65,000 US, period. I'm struggling with bringing myself to spend $65,000 on a car that's 30 years old, and the odds of needing any replacement parts becoming so difficult to find. I have been having many sleepless nights thinking about whether I should buy this car. I have not ruled it out yet.
Hey, this is the way I think is that, listen, if you don't buy it, Scott, someone else will.
I feel like that's not a kind thing for you to say to me.
It's not a kind thing to say. What's the truth?
I know, but it doesn't feel kind.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But
things, moral support are like, don't worry, Scott, there'll always be another one.
Nah, this is gonna go.
149,000, 150,000 kilometers. That brings that car to having like 120,000 miles on it. But again, the whole car's been really refreshed. Like, it's refreshed. This car is a great car. I want this car. Listen, don't be overly shocked if at some point in the near future you do hear me say, you're not going to believe what I went to Toronto for. Mm-hmm. This would do it. Look, these three cars are probably some of the best examples of paying a fair price for great cars that you can get right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, really are. And you can fly in easily. They're not too far outside of the airport.
They were offering shipping too.
Well, yeah. I mean, so they're talking about $5,000 or $6,000. They have a broker. I mean, I hate this because, right, that's including like, yeah. So my whole thing is like
tax, import, shipping.
I know. My whole thing is like I'll go.
I don't want to get too far.
I'll be there in an hour.
Yeah, I don't want to get too far tracked. But when I look at some of the other stuff the Beamer and the Evo and the Integra up there, why not get rid of those ones?
Well, first off, I think the Evo 5 is really cool. Plus, I haven't done the build on it.
No, they have Evo 9 up there.
Oh, all right.
I mean, not the Evo 5 on the side.
I would say arguably out of most of the automotive journalists that have been out there, because remember, Peter Turek was the head editor for Modified Magazine and all these different things. He has driven the most amount of these cars.
I know.
There's a reason that he's keeping some of these cars, and I don't think they all have to do with drivability. A lot of it has to do with, kind of that nostalgic factor, cars that he wants to own.
Right. No, I get it. Also, if for the people who haven't watched this yet, at the end of the video, they say that they are absolutely not interested in any kind of trades whatsoever. Except an NSX.
For the Supra.
Yeah.
Right? So now the thing is, man, is that when they took off the parts that they used for the Supra that they're not selling any parts.
Right.
Because they're going to hold those parts and they're going to build a Supra again to keep. Mm-hmm. They want to keep this car, but they need the bankroll to be able to continue to buy more projects so you can have more content.
Cost of doing business, am I right?
Yeah, but it's a really, like, I feel like, I mean, look, I love my son. I love my daughter.
I don't know where this is going.
I just think that maybe they could fetch a good retail price and then maybe I could get them back in some sort of pawn transaction.
Okay.
I'm just kidding, guys. I wouldn't sell you for the world. Unless I threw all three cars in which case, no, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I will say this. I think that and I still struggle with this a little bit. As much as I want that Supra, and that's the car that I want here, there. And when I'm saying this, it's because I know that Peter won't sell me his R35, 34.
Yep.
But when I watch the video and I watch them drive the RX-7.
Oh, how much fun. Oh, man.
I really think... Now this Supra does, as it sits, it makes 500 horsepower.
Yeah.
Right? As it sits. Responsive, 500 horsepower. When they drove the RX-7, it immediately made me think, you know what?
Oh, Max, stay on this picture really quick before you change it. Also, you know what that is back there in the back right behind the Sylvia?
In the back right behind the Sylvia.
Yeah, you know what that is?
Yes, I know what it is.
You know what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the GR Maurizio.
Yeah, that's the GR. That's the GR Corolla.
What's the special name for
Maurizio.
it? Maurizio.
Maurizio.
I want to say Maurizio.
That's their Maurizio edition back there.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm sure that they got that car for a fair penny.
No, for sure.
So I'm sure that there's some of that has to go into paying for these cars that they need back. But I'm really struggling because now it's just a matter of they got two cars that I want. And I think that FD is a really good looking car. I just don't. Damn it. This is really tough. All right, look. Let's conclude this. First off, I want you to understand it's not as, if you're watching this on YouTube, it's not as clickbaity as you think, because at the end of the day, I still haven't ruled out that I'm not buying the Supra. Mm-hmm. That's number one. I've been speaking to Pete about it for a long time. It's just, my whole thing is I got two little kids, And I do have another car, and I like the idea of building my cars, and I don't think I would do too much to this car. I think they've done most of the stuff. Peter and Dave and I, we've all grown up in that same age. We were this like similar age, and we grew up together. Like I've known these guys for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
And because of being friends with them, they share the same OEM plus version of cars that I would build.
Right.
They've done everything that I think I would do, with the exception of maybe changing the seats out, but you also know why the seats are in there. It's because, they could put seats in, but then it would add the value. They're not keeping the car.
Right.
I watched how cool that car was to drive, and I still think that depending on how well, if that car sells or how fast it sells, like I could possibly end up with that one as well. So we're not ruling things out here. I mean, it's on the table, but look, I will say this. If you are looking for any one of these cars, you couldn't find anything. I don't think you could find much that's better right now for that kind of price. So if you got 3 cars on the table.
Yeah. Money's
not an option. Which car do you pick?
All right. Let's play the game. Money's not an option. I take the Supra.
Why?
Come on. It's everyone's dream to have a Mark IV Supra.
Okay.
But I love the RX-7, but I don't know why. Is this weird for me to say that if I had a Supra or an RX-7 FD, that I feel like I would like a left-hand drive over a right-hand drive? Is that weird?
No, that's not weird. That's completely normal.
Okay, yeah. So that being said, I might just take the S15 because it makes sense to have that as a right-hand drive.
Because you can't get it in a left-hand drive.
Right.
That's interesting.
Yeah, is that cool?
So, no, it's totally cool. So, but you're saying...
And the SR20 is a great engine, so...
It is. It is, and you can find them replacements here if you needed to. Or so you're saying money's no option. They put the keys on the table.
Yeah.
You take the Supra.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if they said, hey, you got to pay something for these cars, something more than
and the S15 is commanding the lowest price of the 3, and I think it's a great bang.
All right,
for
so
your buck.
let me ask you like this: you have the money to buy all 3 of these cars.
Oh my God.
But you still have to spend the money, which means that if you spend the money, you're going to spend all the money on a Supra. If you spend the money on the RX-7,
you got a little
you
left
get
to
some
play
more.
with. Okay.
And if you put the money on,
yeah, I think I'd come home with an S15.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take away. Let's say that the RX-7 and the S15 are the same price.
Okay.
Which car do you take?
On these particular two.
These
particular two, man, I don't know. RX-7.
You do? Yeah. Okay. It's interesting.
It just sounds crazy if I don't.
But is that what you want?
Yeah, it's like the best looking car ever. Right. Like I could just look at it and be happy. What's better looking than an FD RX-7? Maybe a GT3 RS. I don't know. What's a better looking car?
Oh, I love a GT3 RS.
Like those are like the 2 of the best looking cars of all time. I don't know.
They're I mean, that's right up there.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. That's tough.
That's like it. Like those are like the best looking cars ever.
That's tough. Yeah. So jealous. I just want
to.
I really like having kids. Really messes with you because if I didn't have kids, I promise you, I would have bought these cars. I probably would have owned. Vin from Hoonigan.
Yeah.
He is that example of a guy that has bought the cars he wants to buy.
Yeah.
And is constantly he just I think he's just selling a Supra now to be able to move. I mean, like, anyhow. All right. If one choice, I choose the Supra. But I'm in that situation where if I'm gonna go buy one of these cars, and I don't think I can get myself up to spending another $20-something thousand, and it's got our wheels already.
Take the FD.
I think I take the FD.
Hey,
but I want, but the Supra's not ruled out yet because I still feel that car is a unicorn in the sense of finding one in that price range that has that stuff done to it, that's already been sorted through, that has had the 30-year jinx kind of removed from it in the sense of that they went through the car, and it has all the right parts, and the only thing that's different on this car was going to obviously be the left-hand versus right-hand drive. So I'm not even opposed to the fact that that's the car I'm going to take.
Oof.
I'm telling you right now, like, this is not even a BS. Like, when nobody's BSing you, like, I may still go to Canada and buy this car.
If it's available.
Unless one of you snag it from me, in which case we're going to fight. You know what I mean? There's going to be a fight going on. Weigh in. Let us know what you think. Which car would you take? Money's no option.
Or what car do you want to see Scott in?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Does anybody care enough to comment on that?
Maybe. People are rooting for you.
All right. Blow. Well, if they're rooting for me, let's start a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
Let's take it one step further, guys. Let's not just root for me. Let's make the dream happen.
Buy it for him.
Isn't that the American dream?
Yeah.
All right. That's it. We'll catch you next Wednesday.